Derby.
The turn, the leader, War Admiral, 2.5 for free.
Next is in the center of the racetrack. The Admiral sloop drawing alongside again.
War Emblem is still there. War Emblem is pulling away. He's got another gear. Yeah, that's Red Snake coming the Derby. Wheel away takes command. Lionheart is all heart. Smarty Jones is all out. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's Blue of 1979.
It is Tuesday of Kentucky Derby, week 5, Tuesday to be exact. We had some rain last night into this morning. Track was sloppy, muddy earlier, but it dries out very quickly, already rated good as we approach the designated training period for the Oaks and Derby horses. It is time for the morning workout show presented by Twin Spires as we take a look at the headlines, and quite honestly, not the whole heck of a lot going on, which is a good thing. Japanese Kentucky Derby team of Forever Young and Teal Password both expected to breeze during the training period here this morning. Advanced wagering on the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby begins today, several days before those actual races, with the races both drawn this past Saturday. And it's 5-0 Tuesday, live racing returning to Churchill down this afternoon at 12:45 Eastern with a 10-race program. Joe Christopher and Kevin Kilroy joining you in one headline. We did not see the release of Kevin Kilroy's Oaks and Derby selections coming up a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, Joe, you know the people have just been waiting. They've been begging. They've been wondering who am I going to put on top. Yeah, we've been collecting all this data, watching in the mornings, and it's really that qualitative data to add that dimension to the paper, to the PPs. So we'll be talking through all that here today.
We drew the Oaks and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday night. Past performances were released Sunday. The morning line odds are in, not only for the Derby and the Oaks, but for all the races on Friday and Saturday. And Kevin, here's the first 10.
Yeah, you know, a few of these real quick. Just Steele, that recent work there, just really stopped right after the finish line. Exercise rider Brianne Culp, one of the great jocks in the morning that I see up. She does such a fantastic job. Just didn't seem to have that energy. I think maybe we did a little bit too much in that previous work. Seeing Grambo the first go distance yesterday, really trying to go a couple times around. Reminds me of Mage last year. Might be a sneaky one to use in your Super Vectus.
Two horses on the outside looking in. Epic Ride and Mugatu, two horses that campaigned at Turfway Park this winter. Fierceness, he is going to have a blue and orange target on his back, and he is going to be the favorite in this race. He should be forwardly placed from post position number 17. Kevin, he looked awesome in the Florida Derby, and he's looked equally good training leading up to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, it's all about knowing the horse, right? Knowing their personality, knowing their style. Some of these horses out here, like Catching Freedom, I've been talking about, a big energy horse, a fun horse, is really showing himself. Fierceness, the opposite, right? Very professional, an efficient mover, nothing flashy, but you like that efficiency, especially when you're trying to get that longer distance.
Very cool, calm, and collected, the laid-back dude, Fierceness, as we transition to the likely second choice in Kentucky Derby 150. Completely different running styles. Fierceness up close, the target on his back, and Sierra Leone's going to try to hit the target late, as this is a deep closing Son of Gun Runner. Chad Brown, the trainer, taking that typical path that he took with Zandon with Sierra Leone from the Remsen to the Risen Star to the Bluegrass, and different running styles and different physicalities. $2.3 million worth of racehorse, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Hanging out with Sierra Leone when I've been able to get the chance, he's got a very, very bright personality. You can kind of just see his fun, playful, and love for race coming through in the way that he looks at you, the way that he moves on the track. So he's a really, really cool horse.
Take a look back at the Bluegrass, Kevin. Well documented that he delayed the start by 3 minutes. He's in the starting gate now, post position number 10. Doesn't get the cleanest of starts from the gate here. Breaks a little bit slowly. Several other Kentucky Derby runners in the Bluegrass, including Dornock. The Connections deciding to change tactics here He came from a little bit off the pace and really kind of sort of got himself in trouble here on the first turn. Just a Touch was forward, Epic Ride was forward. They wound up finishing second and third behind Sierra Leone.
Yeah, you can see Top Connor on the rail was able to be kind of a rabbit as Just a Touch really tended some fast fractions, setting up for that stablemate Sierra Leone, stablemate of Top Connor to come late in here. So first time going 2 turns for Just a Touch and did really well. Definitely gets that upgrade in terms of tending to the pace. And we can see Sierra Leone's move here. You can see that unbounded energy. And we can also see, as you mentioned, a son of gun runner. You know, Joe, I'm talking to Steve Asmussen a bunch at Fairgrounds. One thing he's told me about these gun runners, and he knows them well, is when they get close to another horse, you can see him switch leads. It's something the gun runner would do as well, back and forth. So you might think, oh, this is a green horse, or you might think this is just a son of gun runner. This is what we see from his father and see from many of them.
I think it's a little bit of both. I still think he's figuring out what he's doing out there, but Tyler Gaffalione knows what he has underneath him, and it's a loaded gun. Let's take a look at Forever Young, a perfect 5 for 5, earning $2 million. He's run in 3 different countries, winner of the UAE Derby and the Saudi Derby. We're going to see him work a little bit later on today, and let's take a look at a piece of his gallop work from yesterday, Kevin.
Yeah, this is very excited to see his work today. I still feel like I don't have a full sense of Forever Young. What I do see from him is a professional, an absolute professional. He draws that post 11. He might have to wait a while as 1 and 11 load at the same time, and they wait for the other one. So that's a good spot for him. He should be able to handle that. But I do want to see him move one more time to really get my full assessment. But I do, of course, love the 5 for 5.
Yusaku Oka will be aboard Forever Young for the work of this morning. Rasu Sakawi, the rider, will arrive Thursday evening, and Kazushi Kimura is the rider of Teal Password, and he has been aboard for all of the track work, including yesterday, and he's going to show speed from the gate. Very lightly race, Kevin. Forever Young scheduled to go 6 furlongs today. Teal Password scheduled to go a half mile. Yeah,
Teal Password is somebody who you can tell he's still getting acclimated, right? He got here, we could see he was washed out that first day, just still had jet lagged, you could kind of compare it to, right? Trying to figure it out. This is a road game for him, right? We saw him spook a little bit on the track. He's still figuring out his environments. He's paying attention to things, learning things, and how he might sort of react to it all. I mean, it reminds me, Joe, when I was watching him spook here, when I was driving this morning, I thought I saw a pothole, but it was just a shadow, right? and I swerved out of it, right? I just still getting used to Eastern Parkway here in Louisville, but similar situation. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Teal Password's just learning his environment.
Kazushi Kimura doing a great job to stay on Teal Password. Again, he will be aboard for the work. Transitioning from the Derby to the Kentucky Oaks, which of course will be run on Friday here under the Twin Spires. And what a good field. Anyone of 5 horses could go favored.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Tarifa, on the track yesterday, she was just cutting a hole through the wind. She was moving so well. Just a really slender, high-energy horse. So I love to see her moving so well.
And then, look at the second page here. Power Squeeze, we're going to talk more about her later. She's kind of been the forgotten horse here. She's 12-1, and she defeated Ways and Means in Florida in their last encounter. Ways and Means, one of a handful of horses that could go favored in the Oaks. Our Pretty Woman and Candy looking in. And here's the winner of the Ashland. She defeated the 2-year-old champ, Just FYI, in that race in Lexington. We're talking about Leslie's Rose. She had a perfect pocket trip that particular day, Kevin. A little bit of a more difficult journey, I would say, in the Oaks on tap for her from the outside gates.
Yeah, not as big as Just FYI, but really, perfect trip, of course, but powered away at the end. She's moving very powerfully in the morning. She's one that's just gone up in my estimation, watching her here at Churchill Downs.
Leslie's Rose post 14. Just FYI post 13, Ways and Means post 11, and Tarifa, you got an advantageous draw, one would say, Kevin. 7-2 morning line favorite. I found that maybe a little bit surprising, and we saw this horse all winter long at Fairgrounds. Flavion Pratt for Brad Cox. Tarifa from post 8 to 7-2 morning line choice.
Yeah, one thing that the morning line odds maker definitely pays attention to is how the horses were bet in the previous races. I remember thinking Tarifa was the other Brad Cox entry in the Rachel Alexander. I looked up at post time, there we were at 5-2, right. I believe it was. So they've backed her pretty hard.
Where's My Ring broke her maiden in a grade 2 race. The grade 3 Lizelle last out. and did so authoritatively. She's another one that a lot of people really aren't talking about, but she was knocking on the door in Southern California prior to that breakthrough performance.
Yeah, if you have a strong opinion about sort of the other 9, right, then you can really have a good score in this year's Oaks. Nothing that I can see from Where's My Ring this, the past week. We've seen her that knocks her. She's just moving strong. She seems focused and definitely has a nice, efficient move.
Power squeeze on the racetrack yesterday. The winner of the Gulfstream Park Oaks at 11-1. She's going to be a similar price on Friday. She was under a ride basically from the half-mile pole to the wire, but it was incredible to see her sustain that bid and get the job done over Ways and Means, who had a little bit of a trouble trip off the bench, and into Champagne, who was the pace setter. All 3 of those returning on Friday. Yeah,
you've got to recognize that was a disadvantaged trip for Ways and Means, and that did make it easier for Power Squeeze. But we do have a lot of pace signed on, a lot of early trackers, pressers, these sort of forward horses that could heat things up for Power Squeeze late kick.
Tappa Janali from the rail might be one of those horses to go. She was 3rd last out, and a distant 3rd behind Torpedo Anna in the Fantasy, 2nd in the Honeybee in the start prior behind Lemon Muffin. Both of those will be in the Oaks as well.
Yeah, Tappa Janali, not a filly that I was very high on coming into this, and there's nothing I've been seeing in the mornings that's really drawn me to her, so one that I'm still going to try to beat.
All right, the Kentucky Oaks again coming up on Friday. Eddie Milligan Jr., a Texas-based trainer who does run some horses at Oaklawn too, will be making his first start in the Kentucky Oaks with Tappa Janali from the Rail Post. Manny Esquivel, who's been aboard for the last couple of starts, will be in the saddle. Take a look at the 2 Japanese horses already in the chute, which is what they do. And there you see them, Forever Young and also T.O. Password. And in the white is Forever Young, and in the red is T.O. Password. They're going to work, and we're going to see a lot more Derby and Oaks horses right after this.
As they head to the backstretch, it's a tight pack.
He's going to pull ahead. The Twin Spires expert picks were all optimistic.
You've got the best speed rating in the field. Don't fail me now.
Man, I love this horse's name.
And from far behind, here comes Frank. It's neck and neck. Frank is winning. Frank wins!
No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires, the official betting partner of the Kentucky Derby. Get your money back if your horse finishes 2nd or 3rd in eligible races.
Maintenance ongoing here. We did have some rain in the area last night into this morning. The track was sloppy, then muddy, now rated as good as this racetrack here at Churchill Downs. The main track dries out like no other. We're going to be good for the morning work session, which begins momentarily. But before we get to the Derby and Oaks horses live on the track, let's tell you a little bit more about the great promotions courtesy of Twin Spires, the money back promo, one that I took advantage of a couple of times on opening night and plan on doing so again today and all the way through Derby Day, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get up to $10 back. You like a horse, you want to put that money on that runner's nose. Feel confident in doing it, because if you opt in for this, that first win bet that you make, you're going to get up to $10 back. So you can go more than that, but they'll give you up to 10. So keeping those bullets in the chambers is a way to do it, to keep on trying to have that big score on Derby Day.
Make sure you opt in. Twin Spires, the place to be. Fast, safe, and easy to use. And a great promotion coming up on Derby as well. This coming Thursday, Kevin, the $2,500 leaderboard competition. Again, those $10 win bets. If your horse finishes 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, you earn points at all the races on Churchill Downs on Derby. Move your way up the leaderboard. If you wind up having the most points at the end, you'll earn the lion's share of $2,500. Again, free to play.
Yeah, a lot of tournaments, the strategy is to try to find prices. With a tournament like this, we're really top heavy for that 100 points you get for the winner. You want to go towards the logicals. So yes, you might have to just get a little bit different, a couple of spots where you have that winner come through, but go towards the logicals is the way I would play it.
Yeah, you don't get any extra for betting on a 4 to 5 shot or a 20 to 1 shot in a contest like this, but you get a little extra on your $10 win bet, that's for sure. So you are cashing tickets along the way as well. We saw the racetrack being worked on and drying out. These are the 2 Japanese, and they're back in the chute, Kevin. So we're not so much worried at this point getting the chute in good shape. These horses around the track, obviously we can't do any track maintenance. The main part of the racetrack, as you saw earlier, being maintained, drying out, but here are the two Japanese back in the chute, and this is common for them every morning.
Yeah, this is an interesting day to be watching how horses move across the track. Looking at the forecast, you know, there's still a lot of time in between there, but possibility of rain, right? So we might have a little bit of moisture in that track on Derby Day. So I'm excited to see how they move in general, but of course across a track like the conditions we have this morning. And Joe, it's great to see the Japanese training style, right? Their training facilities are just different than ours in terms of having all of our horses on the backside. They've got a much more ranging and sort of a free-flowing training facility that I've never seen in person, but I hear obviously cool things about.
Dornoch, usually one of the first horses waiting to get on the racetrack during this designated training period. Kevin, well documented. He is Mage's full brother. Luis Saez has been aboard this horse for all but one of his 6 career starts. You know, they experimented with him last time in the Bluegrass, trying to take him off the pace after he did win his previous 3 races, gate to wire. They got the rail, they got Luis, they got speed, they're going to go.
Yeah, Joe, he's a horse that I've actually downgraded since seeing him on track. I just don't think he's moving forward. So Dornoch is one, maybe some antics here and there that sort of caught my eye, just the way he's moving. So I've downgraded Dornoch for the Derby.
Epic Ride on the outside looking in. He's on the outside of the racetrack looking in, wanting to get on and stretch his legs out, which he'll do momentarily. Third in the Bluegrass last out, proving he could handle dirt, Kevin. His previous 4 races, all at Turfway Park on the synth, but you look at that pedigree, Blame out of a Gio Ponte mare, versatile pedigree. He proved his versatility in the Bluegrass.
Yeah, sort of, you know, one paced, you know, in that Bluegrass. I thought it was a fine run, but nothing that that really impressed me in a big way. He would have to step forward, but he's got that 21, sort of a Rich Strike sort of feel,
from
right?
Turfway.
Yeah, coming from Turfway. Don't really have a sense of him. Haven't been giving him too much of my morning attention, and so you know, a little bit late comer to the track. We'll see how he moves today. I would love to see him on camera.
Epic Ride for John Ennis, his first career Kentucky Derby starter. First as well for the Biscuit, Adam Beschizza. The regular rider has been aboard for all 5 lifetime starts aboard Epic Ride. And again, the designated training period. And Kevin, outside the 2 Japanese, all the heavy lifting has been done as we take a look here at Resilience. Post position number 19 off the Win in the Wood Memorial last out. He's won 2 of his last 3. He was 4th in the Risen Star, what people are calling the probably deepest prep overall, top to bottom, won by Sierra Leone, Track Phantom 2nd, Catching Freedom 3rd. Resilience with the blinkers on last out, getting the job done in the wood. And there you see Forever Young, who's going to be working here 6 furlongs up very shortly. Kevin, again, Forever Young, ridden by Yusaku Oka, who is the exercise rider. Rusei Sakawi, the jockey, will be here Thursday evening, according to Kate Hunter. We always thank Kate for all of her assistance here with the Japanese runners.
Yeah, just a great mind, Forever Young. One who, when he's ready to race, he lets it roll, but when he's hanging around the track, he loves people, loves the attention, loves the environment of what's going on. He just sort of enjoys it all. You know, one of those just beautiful minds that you find in a thoroughbred.
Half mile for T.O. Password for his final breeze today. Forever Young's schedule goes 6 furlongs, just a handful of days out from the Kentucky Derby. I'm guessing it's going to be one of those very slow early, picking it up late kind of works.
Yeah, you can see on T.O. Password, that's definitely a pretty big cup there in terms of blinkers. So I can't remember, I don't have it in my notes, whether he was wearing that in his previous races when in the Fukuryu and the one prior. But it's good to take note of that. T.O. Password, we'll see how he sort of relaxes into his environments here this morning.
Harley is much the star of the show to some people as the Oaks and Derby horses. There you see him on the racetrack, the famous pony here at Churchill Downs. And yeah, the heavy lifting's done for everybody else, and we're going to see the vast majority of the horses, you know, on the racetrack here this morning. If they weren't on the racetrack today, you would probably have some level of concern. But Oaks and Derby horses, again, the pre-wagering for both of those races, I believe is going to open at some point here today. We will keep you posted during the course of the simulcast show here on 5-0 Tuesday with a 10-race program at Churchill Downs scheduled. beginning at 12:45 Eastern Time. Again, Churchill Downs today with Tony Kalo and myself will begin at 11:45 here this morning, 1 hour before first post. And you know, there was some rain this morning, Kevin, but it's turned out to be a beautiful morning, and you can see the fans and Forever Young will just walk right up to the fans on the racetrack, coming on and off the track. People have been petting him. I mean, yeah, you don't typically see that with racehorses preparing for such a big day, but the Japanese have been very giving of Forever Young, who has been a gift to them.
Yeah, and that's just his personality. You shouldn't take that as a knock that maybe he doesn't have a race on his mind, right? And that makes me wonder about this work, what we're going to see, what they're going to ask him to do, whether you're saying like maybe they're just going to go slow and build into it and think in terms of distance, or whether they're going to try to get some air into his lungs and really get him to think about that break and moving quick early. But yeah, what a cool horse. Obviously so well bred. And you can see the class just in the way he handles himself every step of the way.
Yusaku Oka, the exercise rider, just has no problem. Like, you know, a lot of people would shy away from this sort of situation with their horse. They don't want him to get spooked. But the fans truly getting a treat here. Forever Young going to be working 6 furlongs here in just a few moments.
Yeah, what I see from when I study Japanese racing and the way they train is they really are all about that horse in terms of giving them the most amazing experience they can have in terms of their mind and knowing them what they want. So this is what Forever Young likes to do, and the rider's going to absolutely give that to him in terms of keeping him engaged, keeping him curious, keeping him bright, and doing his best.
This horse's dam, Forever Darling, is related to, actually a half to, the dam of Sierra Leone, which kind of sort of makes the two of them first cousins, which is intriguing. Heavenly Love, the dam of Sierra Leone, and the dam of Forever Young, who is Forever Darling, again, have siblings. So they are first cousins, not something you see every day, Kevin, when it comes to not only two horses in the same race, any race, but two horses from completely different continents.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see he didn't love those kids who were loving him, right? He's like, they're like, I'm not sure about those guys. But we'll see T.O., you know, the light's a little bit hard to see, but his coat looks good. I think he's just, you know, taking that time, right? You get to first time traveling for T.O. Password to, you know, across the different environments, but now we're seeing a little bit of different behavior, right? T.O.'s really doesn't like those school kids who are giving him some love. So he seems nervous, he seems anxious, he seems like maybe he just wants to get into the work. It's all about how they move though, right? I mean, the Derby Day is just a unique day in terms of distance, in terms of running with 20 horses here in America, but also in terms of the crowd. So you do want to keep these things in mind. But it's good to see him get to it, right? He's starting to move here with his workmate, getting his neck bowed, and getting his focus on what thoroughbreds love to do the most, run.
Yeah, we're going to have a workmate. So these two horses are not going to work together, but they are going to work with other workmates. And you see T.O. Password is going to break off behind the workmate here. These horses have been training with some horses from the Dale Romans barns. And he's behind his workmate here. This is a horse that has shown speed in his 2 races thus far, held on for dear life to win the most recent start to earn a spot into the Kentucky Derby. But again, Kevin, scheduled to go a half mile here.
Yeah, was able to get a great trip where he was able to have a nice, comfortable lead, and he did barely hold on, but he is bred to get the distance. So I think a big question is, can he break as sharp as some of these American dirt horses, and what will he do if he does have to take some kickback? So he's making his move up on the workmate, and really nice, efficient acceleration there. Good to see that. He does seem to be he's moving with energy, Joe. I think he's really got a nice stride to him here. The workmates keeping up with him, not just giving it to him easy. It wasn't just a confidence boosting work. They are going eyeball to eyeball right now as they come down the stretch, and workmate comes back on him a little bit there. So we'll see if the rider asks, or he's kind of just staying it pretty quiet above, and maybe just a little bit of a flick there, a couple flicks, and gets him moving to the front. see if he can maintain this advantage as they come across the wire in this gallop out.
I have zero interest in this horse as far as my wagering strategies go on Kentucky Derby Day, but to me, he's important to the race because I want him to show speed. I want him to be one of those horses mixing it up early. I want him to add to what I believe will be a potential fast early pace, because the horses I'm gravitating to in this year's Kentucky Derby, Kevin, are the deeper out the back closers.
Yeah, I think he is a big part of the handicapping of the race. I thought there was a nice move by him. We saw a little bit of distraction along the rail there, but he had a good focus move.
Forever Young scheduled to go 6 furlongs. Now, the last time they did this, they went very, very slow early, and they went a lot faster late, but the final time was not fast whatsoever for 6 furlongs. Kevin Kirstein does a great job providing us with these workout times once these works are complete, but expecting to see much of the same here today with Forever Young. And, Kevin, he's got a little bit of tactical speed. The thing I'll say about Forever Young, he doesn't break great in his races. Even in the UAE Derby, where he had an advantageous outside post, was able to put himself in position. He's drawn in the middle of the pack in the Kentucky Derby, and if he gets pinched back or squeezed a little bit, breaks a little bit slowly, that could be detrimental going into the first turn.
It could be, but what we do know about him, Joe, is that he's got heart. He's got that competitive spirit. He's overcome those situations, obviously at 5 for 5, and I think that's such a huge, criteria to be a true Derby winner. Overcome challenges, but also start-stop ability. He can do that. He can get in some trouble even when he's rallying and turn it back on and re-rally, because you might have to do that as the forward horses kind of come back at you. So it's just an efficient move. I thought it was fantastic. The time is what I'm curious about. It looked easy to me. So if it's a sharp time, then I'm going to be impressed. And if it wasn't, I'd still think it was a good move, but he handled that track great and still moving well as he's finishing up here.
I've seen better works.
You've seen better ones?
I mean, just amongst the Derby horses, and again, I don't, proclaim myself to be a workout expert. They weren't as slow early and as fast late in this work. This was more of an even work, I thought.
This is what I've been seeing from him at the track. So it wasn't anything that really popped it up and made me think, oh, wow, here we go. Here's the one that we've just been waiting to see, which you want that. You want them just to hand it to you on a plate, right, in terms of showing you what's going on. But he's focused, he's professional, he's efficient, and he seems to be holding himself together in a really good way.
Let's take a look at some of the other horses. And again, this was Power Squeeze moments ago. Again, the focus here on the Japanese horses who both just work awaiting those official times. Here's Power Squeeze, and I mentioned it earlier, Kevin. They're talking about the big 5. Who's going to go favored? Which one of those horses do you like? But Power Squeeze, I thought, was very impressive in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. She defeated Ways and Means on the square, although Ways and Means had a tricky trip and may have needed the race. She's got every right to move forward. But Power Squeeze didn't lose anything in victory. And you don't often say that because she's going to be a much bigger price than Ways and Means. Although she defeated her, she was under a ride from the half-mile pole to the wire, was able to sustain that bid, which is a good sign when you have to go 1 1/8 miles.
Yeah, have to go that 1 1/8 miles. And, she started off moving pretty slow, but you can see her building her rhythm. And that's what we see with those late kickers, right? It takes them a bit to really get it going. You can't knock a winner, Joe. You just can't knock a winner. She's on a nice streak coming into this one. And like I said, with that pace, the long stretch here, it's a longer stretch at Churchill Downs and Gulfstream Park, and that suits a runner who builds that rhythm, builds that energy with every stride.
This is the kind of horse that I want to try to buy with Brilliant Racing, where the horse was sold for $50,000 as a yearling, was flipped as a 2-year-old for $90,000. We've got a lot of extremely well-bred homebreds in the Oaks and Derby. We've got $500,000, $675,000, $2.3 million horses. But we also have several of these. Honor Marie only cost $40,000 as a yearling. Power Squeeze cost $50,000, flip for $90,000. So you can get these horses in the Oaks and Derby if things progress your way. Again, Power Squeeze.
And I do believe that we've got just FYI here. Moving earlier, and just one that has been catching everybody's eye, coming out from Bill Mott's barn, and just looking fantastic. Her high energy, big filly, and has that competitive spirit. We were watching when Rosie and I were on the show the other day. All of a sudden they waited before they broke off into the breeze. And what we found out later was they were waiting, or our interpretation of it, waiting for the other two workers to go, because she has been a little bit showing that competitive streak in her when next to other runners in the morning. They didn't want her to do too much, and you could see just under wraps the whole time, not letting her to give her full run. What a beautiful, strong stride as she's showing off for us here this morning, Joe.
Post 13 is going to be a little bit of a challenge with her stalking style, but she is bred as well as anybody to get the 9 furlong distance. Her dam was just 2 for 18 as a racehorse, Star Act, but both of those wins came on turf going 9 and 10 furlongs. So you got the Justify on the top, you've got the Stamina on the bottom, a little bit of a turfy pedigree on the bottom, always plays well here at Churchill Downs. And just FYI, you got to make your picks today. I'm interested to see where you have her in your top 5 for the Oaks, but she is strongly amongst the horses that I'm considering on the win end.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to. One thing to mention as well is the exercise riders. We talk about the animals, all throughout these mornings, but the exercise riders don't get that celebration, don't get that praise that they deserve. They do such a fantastic job in working with these horses in the morning.
Grand Mo the First has losses to Endlessly, and then the Chad Brown Kentucky Derby duo of Domestic Product and Fierceness in starts this year, but has earned enough points to get into the Kentucky Derby. Got a good view of Fierceness's hooves last time, maybe not so good of a view, as he was 16 lengths behind him. You mentioned something about this horse's training earlier in the show. What have you been seeing?
Yeah, well, I guess I got to first bring up Mage, right? Watching Mage get ready for the Derby last year, what I was seeing is just the horse that kept on going further, right? Holding that gallop, building that gallop, kind of going faster, but slowly building to that strong run, and just going a little bit longer than the other horses. And Grand Mo the First, I haven't seen him too much, but I did see him yesterday go around a couple times. It got me thinking, like, all right, he's picking up some steam. He's kind of impressing me. Could be sneaky in here, and definitely he's going to be a long price.
Speaking of long prices, and earlier we alluded to, bargain basement purchases, West Saratoga as a Keeneland September yearling, only $11,000. Larry Demerit with a good eye for a racehorse in those 4th and 5th books at Keeneland, Kevin, which can provide some value. This one by Exaggerator, and another horse who's just 2 for 10 lifetime, but 5 seconds, and he really gutted out second in the Jeff Ruby Stakes last out. He was 5 wide on the first turn, 4 wide on the backstretch, 3 wide nearing the far turn. Looked like he might back out of it, but instead he was very game, showed a lot of heart, and earning enough points to get into the Derby.
Yeah, here's another one that I was interested in comparing to Mage. Hearing Demerit talk about what he was doing with West Saratoga before getting here was trying to get that distance, building him to longer gallops in the morning. And I was like, all right, I've heard this before. I'm interested in this runner to try to get a piece. I haven't seen it on the track. I could have just looked away when seeing him go around the second time. It's hard to catch every little move that they do in the mornings. But, a little bit of a slider. Colt Gelding? Sorry. Don't remember
Colt.
what Colt. Yeah. Colt, then the other in the field, the only gray. So you got to think about that sometimes, the irrational betting behavior of the public, right? Where they just might get behind this horse because he is a gray. But he seems to be moving well. He's not one that I'm ultra familiar with, so it's going to be interesting to see if he really can get that distance. But he's definitely been trained to do such.
Short comment says outgamed last time. That's a terrible comment. The horse was very game and finishing second in a 5-horse blanket photo behind Endlessly in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. All right, we're going to transition here.
Catalytic
moving off the racetrack right now.
Adios, Catalytic. He's been moving well. Nothing up or down with him from what I've seen from him. He just seems very athletic, very strong.
Yeah, he's got some upside. He's got some upside. I mean, he's improving. He ran a gutsy race to hold on the second behind Fierceness last time out in the Florida Derby. There you see Grand Mo the First. There you see West Saratoga. And the training period is winding down here, Kevin. Again, the highlight today was the works, and we're going to see if we got those workout times here coming in, courtesy of Kevin Kirstein. Don't see anything yet. Kevin does a great job providing us those workout times, but also, just makes a lot of sense to check his Twitter myself, because he is a man that is in high demand. That cell phone Here we go. So Forever Young, 103 was the final time. I do have that. We don't have the splits. And the time for Tio Password, 46 4/5. And it was the stablemate, St. Denis, Tio St. Denis, who was the workmate, and he's going to run in one of the undercard stakes.
Yeah, you can see, as we're talking about West Saratoga, is he going further? We can see he's still out there. He's still moving, right, as Demerit was talking about. And a little bit of antics there, I'm guessing, that the school children said hello to West Saratoga again. Love to see the fans come out and show their love for these athletes. But so it's good to see him just maintaining this just easy, steady gallop around the track, and he's taking his environments in. I don't see him completely focused on just his run, but I don't know him well. This could just be a true part of his personality.
We did get some video of Fierceness on the racetrack earlier this morning, Kevin. And, Todd Pleasure talks about the fact that this horse still has some growing to do. Like, he's not, 100% mature. And if this horse continues to grow and continues to get better physically based on the effortlessness of his stride and what we've seen from him so far, he's got to prove his tenacity. He's got to prove that he can overcome adversity. But this is a very, very scary racehorse, not only on Saturday, but moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about his draw, Joe. I'm not sure if he's going to have to, right? He could just sit outside of it. You were talking about this, uncovered, and make that one move to the front whenever he sort of sees fit, or when Johnny Fee sees fit. So he might just have an easy go. But he doesn't have, when we watch like Sierra Leone, we see that sort of paddling, that big, open, unbounded stride. We don't see that with Fierceness, right? It's efficient. So sometimes I'm like, does he look a little bit sore? Does he look a little bit tight? Or is it just how efficient he is? And that's one question mark I do have.
I have to move on over to Jin, who has hit the board in 6 of 7 lifetime starts, third last stop behind Where's the Ring and the Gazelle. And this is a very important part of the process, Kevin, is schooling in the starting gate, the assistant starters, getting to know the Oaks and Derby horses, what quirks they might have, because we want to make sure that the gate load for 2 of the most important races in the world goes as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about familiarity, comfort, ease, relaxing. Trainers teach the thoroughbreds to relax out there, right? And this is one example of it. They get in the gate. They've been here before. There's nothing to think about. There's nothing new that catches their eye. Thoroughbreds so curious, so eager to be anxious, right? As a sort of flight animal, a herd flight animal that looking for danger anywhere it might be. And, Jinjin's one that work with Tarifa, that most recent work moved her up in a big way for me. Not only did they go well, not only did they go fast, but the gallop out and the finish up was huge. It was a big move.
Resilient schooling in the Paddock, Kevin, the brand new Paddock. And wow, it exceeded my expectations. I mean, I told some people that I've talked to about it, it's entirely changed the dynamic of Churchill Downs. And obviously, the most important part of the Paddock is the saddling process and what goes on with the racehorses, but aesthetically, it's unbelievably pleasing.
It is. It creates a beautiful symmetry to the track. It just really centers the eye and the movement. Give it a big A+ to the architects and to everybody who put their time into this. It's just fantastic. And again, schooling, right? It's all about learning their environments. I was wondering why we weren't seeing blinkers on Resilience coming over to get his full attention for the Paddock school, right?
Yeah, because you got to come in the Paddock before they put the blinkers on, right? So, there you see Resilience for trainer Bill Mott, who also has just FYI in the Kentucky Oaks. So you see the fans gathering. It's turned out to be a beautiful morning. It's going to be a little bit on the warm side here today. 5-0 Tuesday at Churchill Downs, $5 admission. So, this week gets a little bit of expensive as you move on to Thurby, move on to Friday, Kentucky Oaks, you move on to Saturday. This is a great day for the locals to just come out, enjoy the workouts, enjoy the races, enjoy the atmosphere of Kentucky Derby week as the momentum and excitement continues to build.
Yeah, Joe, and I love seeing people come out in the morning. As you know, I get out there and I love to be there. It's just really gives you the insight to what goes on with this sport and how these horses are treated so well and what they're up to out there. The races are just adrenaline rushing, but this is really the neat stuff. So I love to see people come out there. I hope it just brings them deeper into the sport.
There's a lot on the line in the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. There's obviously purse money, there's prestige, there's breeding value moving forward. But for Sierra Leone, he's running for yet another purpose.
Pleased to be joined here by the Backside Learning Center. I'm joined by our executive director, Sherry Stanley, and Kentucky Derby is fast approaching, but we've got some exciting initiatives going on back here at the Backside Learning Center. Tell me about the Purses for Purpose and the specific relationship now with Sierra Leone.
So we're really thrilled that one of our top donors and just one of our most loyal long-term supporters, Brooke Smith, came into the ownership group of Sierra Leone. And he told us about this horse several months ago and that he had high hopes for this horse. So Sierra Leone, of course, is the top in the leaderboard right now. And Brooke has pledged to donate 10% of any winnings from Sierra Leone to the Backside Learning Center, plus an additional amount of money, $100,000 he's also going to throw in for us. So that's going to be really significant, that will allow us to really continue to provide so many essential services here for the Backside community. And this program, Purses for a Purpose, is designed specifically to connect our mission with owners of thoroughbred horses. So if you enroll your horse in our program, we promote the horses on social media, and the owners just give us a donation. It could be a one-time donation or a percentage of winnings. So it really is just an excuse to connect us with the community of owners who are, really, I guess, have a personal stake in our mission.
Tell us a little bit about how owners, trainers, jockeys, and other connections to other horses can get involved.
So enrolling in the Purses for a Purpose program, of course. So, that, of course, will allow us to promote your horse. And then it's just, contributing in the form of a donation to the Learning Center. All of our work here is really dependent on independent donors, and we do get some grant funding, but we've expanded significantly. So really, every amount of money counts, and the community, the thoroughbred industry. So that includes, owners, trainers, racing fans. We really receive a lot of support from this community and want to continue to spread the word just because of our direct connection to the success of this industry. This is our 20th anniversary. We opened our doors in 2004. We've been our own 501c3 organization since 2016. And our mission is really just to provide support and resources to the entire Backside community of workers and families. We, work with families and kids starting from birth through adulthood, people that are, retiring. So we just span the whole kind of life cycle of the community here. And it is a community that is 100% dedicated to this sport, without whom this sport would not be possible. So, they're out here working 7 days a week, starting their days at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it really is a community that merits, an additional support of an on-site organization that is here to really, lift them up and, just hook them into resources, programming. Everything that we do is about education. So that's really, we really have a great impact on this community.
All right. Thank you so much, Sherry. And thank you so much for everything that you guys do back here.
Thank you.
Backside Learning Center, we are checking it out back here. Make sure you check it out and get involved.
Well, thanks, Caitlin. Thanks to Sherry, not only for that interview, but for all she does with the Backside Learning Center. An absolutely great cause. Time has come for Kevin Kilroy to release his top 5 Kentucky Oaks, followed by his top 5 Kentucky Derby horses. And Kevin, we use a lot of different tools. Brisnet, the foundation, DRF formulator for me. Kerry Thomas's visual handicapping, exploring the psychology of motion. For 20 years, that's available on Briss. We use a lot of different tools to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughgraph's a big tool for me. Bruno with the work that Bruno and Jason do, Jason Graff, is just so helpful. But Torpedo Anna, my top pick in here, Kim McPeak's filly, ran back to her top as a 2-year-old and looked impressive doing it. I think draws nicely in that 5-hole Brian Hernandez Jr. up. But ways and means, That last race, probably needed that one as a couple in here. Just got that first start as a 3-year-old. I think should move up from that effort. Gonna get bet. Tarifa, she's just looking great in the mornings. Still eager, still high energy, but you can't knock her. And these are the top 5 we were talking about, Joe. This is nothing sneaky. Right. Leslie's Rose just impressed me in such a big way. Just FYI, she's looked fantastic. These are my top 5 in here. How I'm gonna bet it is the next question. So Torpedo Anna, my top pick. She's been sensational in the morning. She just looks so good, moving. The Big Peak Barn has had a great winter. They've been hot, great meet at Keeneland. I think we're going to move forward. Brian Hernandez Jr. with the best draw on one of the best fillies. Yes. I think that's always something you want to pay attention to.
Tactical speed, she should be in a great position. She's not supposed to be this racehorse. Fast Anna, the sire, this is the first greatest stakes winner for Fast Anna, who passed away, died of laminitis back in February of 2021. So Torpedo Anna is Kevin's top Oaks pick. Now we're going to move over to the Kentucky Derby. Kevin, let's start with number 5 and move up to number 1.
Yeah, Forever Young, 10-1, as we've talked about and sung his praises throughout. A professional, he's traveled well, he's handling himself so good here. He's moving efficiently and professionally. The time didn't sound too fast there, which I would have liked to see maybe a little bit sharper, just in terms of really pushing him over that edge. But definitely one that should be able to get a good run in here. Anna Marie, impressive throughout the winter at Fairgrounds, but does seem to be moving forward. That sharp work recently beating Agu really did put me over the edge with loving with Beckman's first Derby runner. Sierra Leone, this is just can't knock this runner. Maybe you can say green, maybe you can say gun runner, right, in terms of how he's moving and switching leads there down the stretch, but he loves to run. He's not at the top for me because I do think those forward horses might get that better sort of trip, and he's buried there on the inside with that 2-hole. So I think there's a little bit of a knock against how he might encounter trouble and what he might have to overcome. Catching Freedom, another one who I just see moving forward in such a good way. From what I've seen at Fairgrounds, leading up to that Derby, we could see him really start to progress, and he's just looked fantastic. High energy, loving everything here at Churchill Downs, and Fierceness. I think he just has the perfect setup in here, Joe. I think he drew so well. I'm not intimidated by any of the forward horses drawn to his inside. And the fastest horse is the fastest horse. Maybe we can say he hasn't been able to hold form from race to race, and that is a question mark we want to address. And the price for that win bet is not going to be what I would want to back, but I do think that he's got the great setup here, and he's just going to be off at the 16th, and it's going to be who's going to be running hard to get second.
Well, thanks, Kevin, Caitlin Free, Tony Kalo, James Scully, Rosie Napravnik, and myself will all release our selections in the coming days. And we're going to try to put those selections to good use on Oaks and Derby Day. Here are the wagering menus, Kevin, and some great ones, including a couple of 2-day wagers.
Yeah, let's take a look at them here. We've got Oaks Derby Pick 6. It's fun to think about that 2-day aspect of really approaching it and attacking it. With all these wagers, there are opportunities, right, where you can really lean on your strongest opinions. And so try to find that, try to see where your strengths are, and take a swing in those pools. They're going to be big, we know that.
The $3 all 3-year-old Pick 3, one of my favorite wagers. The Bourbon Double, the Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic, and the Kentucky Derby, a good one as well. Lots of 50-cent Pick 5s, and don't forget a mandatory payout on the 20-cent Derby City 6 on Kentucky Derby Day, as that pool likely will continue to grow all the way through the first Saturday in May, so don't sleep on that wager either. Lots of things to order wagering-wise off the menu. And you can take advantage on the win end with the money-back offer courtesy of Twin Spires. And again, it began on opening night, Kevin, all the way through Derby Day. The eligible races, make sure you opt in, but some insurance on your win bets.
Yeah, insurance, right? Maybe you miss by a nose, maybe you miss by a head, maybe you get a bad trip, but that $10 will be waiting for you when you come back to your account.
No doubt about it. And a different kind of promotion on Thursday, Thurby, the $2,500 leaderboard. It's a contest. And basically, it's free to enter. Just make sure you opt in. Make $10 win bets on the Thursday races at Churchill Downs. Earn points by running first, second, and third. Work your way up the leaderboard, and whoever has the most points at the end earns a lion's share of $2,500.
Yeah, I love that. Encourage your friends to get in there too, because you want to see whose name is on top, right? It's a nice way to have a social aspect to this great sport.
Yeah, it's all about ego. It's all about bragging rights. It's all about, making some hay at the windows for sure. Kevin, quick final thought here. We're actually running longer than we usually do on the show.
Yeah, good to see Forever Young, his full personality, the way he handles the crowd, also the way he just gets into his move. Nothing too flashy, nothing too extraordinary. We might be able to get a decent price on that 5-for-5 Japanese horse.
I'll say this. I don't have a huge amount of context for Forever Young and these Japanese horses that come in. If I were against the American horses, I would gravitate to him more. I'm not against the American horses. I've got several of them that I like. So I'm going to fade Forever Young and take my chances.
From your Super Vecta all the way across?
Yeah.
Boom, done. You gotta toss some, right? You just have to.
And I respect the horse. I respect the connections. I respect the way they go about things. And I'm very happy it adds some international flavor to the race. But again, this is a betting game.
Yeah, but the pedigree, the mind, and I think the tactics really suit that Japanese horse. So you gotta love different opinions, right? That's why we do this.
That's gonna wrap it up. And just a couple of more days left on the Kentucky Derby morning workout show. Today is 5-0 Tuesday. First post at 12:45 Eastern Time. Churchill Downs today at 11:45 this morning with Tony Kalo and myself. Workout shows on Wednesday and Thursday as we get closer to the Longshot Kentucky Oaks on Friday and Kentucky Derby 150 presented by Woodford Reserve coming up on Saturday. Have a great rest of your 5-0 Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.